Over the past couple days, you've no doubt read a lot about Trump's America First budget. There's been lots of videos, there's been lots of articles on the web, but the actual article itself is only 2 pages, so I wanted to go into the facts. What does this actually tell us about education and the direction of the Trump administration? I'm Dr. E.T., and this is Ed on EdTech.
I want to be super clear that this is not an approved budget. It still needs to go through Congress and Senate. So obviously a lot is going to change, but it tells you the priorities of this administration. You'll see that the Education Department saw a 14% decrease in their budget from the previous year. And it means that the budget went from $68 billion to $59, which is lower than the previous year, but not the lowest it's ever been. Now, there are 3 different categories that I'll focus on: areas of increase, areas of no change, and areas of decrease. And so we'll start with the areas of increase. So school choice is an area that's being increased. You'll see that there's an increase in Title I, charter schools, and private schools. And so Title I is financial assistance that follows low-income families, and this is specifically money that follows the student. So whatever school they go to, it follows them. In terms of charter and private, public schools need to provide accessibility. So even people with disabilities need access, and they do need to follow state standards. Charter schools have generally an application process, and they also need to follow state standards. But since private schools are generally self-funded, they do not need to follow the state standards. So that's the difference between the 3. Now, with IDEA funding, that's the Individuals with Disabilities Act, and the historically black colleges and universities, they found that their funding remained the same. There was no changes. So IDEA is really focused on free and appropriate public education and the least restrictive environment. These types of terms are often used for funding a lot of technology spend. So that remains the same this year. Now, in terms of areas of decrease or program eliminations, so the first is the Pell Grants. So these ones are specifically for higher education. They are not loans. They don't need to be repaid. And so they're really used for people who are low income to fund their college or university education. You can see 5.4 million full-time and part-time students have already used this nationally. In terms of the Supporting Effective Instruction State Grants, a lot of this funding is generally used for professional development and class size reduction. So they potentially hire more teachers as a result of this, but this is a program that is being eliminated or proposed to be eliminated. For the community learning centers, these are mostly after-school care in the high poverty and the low-performing schools environments, and that's something that is proposed to go away. The Special Education Opportunity Grants are, again, focused on low-income undergraduates, so this is universities. So these grants are proposed to go away. Gear Up and the TRIO grants are really focused on high school completion and higher education enrollment. So Gear Up works by giving a scholarship component, while the TRIO works on counseling and work-study employment.
In my opinion, the provision of choice is a good thing because it gives students the option to find the kinds of schools that they value. The jury is still out, like, does it improve test scores? And I don't quite understand why the success of education is completely judged on test scores. The use of choice just means that you get to think of school as just a tool for your learning. And you find the tool that is the most appropriate for you. Education is something that is fundamentally different for each individual, and that difference, that creativity, that area of creativity that people have is going to be different for every student, and so choice is nothing but a good thing in this case. I know my opinions probably vary a lot from what's being said on Twitter right now, but I think that it's important to have a different perspective. And what I want to know is, in the comments below, just let me know what you think. How is this impacting you, or how do you think it'll impact you? And if you want to see more videos like this, I'd encourage you to consider subscribing. Thank you.